Hey folks, welcome to another BrightID AMA. It is March 23rd. Welcome. It's been a while since we had one. Just had a little question session that we just wrapped up off camera, and now we'll join everyone else, but glad to have you with us. Apologies making crazy announcements about how the banking system is going to collapse and Bitcoin is going to take over the world. So maybe it's time for BrightID to take over the identity system. Glad to have folks with us. Yeah, so we were just talking to our new friend Piero about his journey into BrightID, and he wants to get all the validations and get an aura and bring in other people, which is just awesome to hear. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions they wanna get into? Eddie, did you have anything you wanted to ask today? Spoken or in the chat, if you prefer. Or Ashraf, or Adam, or Pierre.
Well, I wonder, yes, one of the things that comes to mind when I watched the video the other day from the ETH Denver was this, the thing of the incentives, like in the end, how you incentivize people to create their accounts and to generate this like identities, like verifications, and how this, because I can see the picture in the future, and when everything becomes more yes, massive in a way, and how do you trust the other party, and I think there the tool comes really handy, but yes, I don't find the proper words to explain, for example, my brother that is not into the environment, and that, yes, I'm really excited about all the decentralization and the possibilities of the blockchain, and another friend I bring into the group that is also a developer, and he's really enthusiastic, but he doesn't really get still the yes, the vibe of the Web3, and he's a bit like in this aseptic sort of position because of the news of last year and all the scams and all this. So yep. He's a bit, I don't know, do you think this is going to work, or this is going to be the future? And well, this is obviously, it's really difficult to predict the future, but I think it's worth give it a try and be aware of what's happening, what is promising. And yes, I wanted to ask you that you are inside.
So we have believed for a long time that the reason that people will get BrightID is because of the things that it unlocks, which are not incentivization that BrightID is going to make. So, you know, you did a bunch of work to get your driver's license, not because you actually wanted that plastic card with your picture on it. It's because you wanted to drive, and that's the thing that you need. In you got a passport not because you want to have a passport, but because you want to be able to travel. So we very much view BrightID in that lens. It's not a thing we don't view as like a joyous process to get your BrightID. We view it as a thing people have to do in order to access the things that are gated behind BrightID. So when the things gated behind are wonderful, imagine that anyone with a BrightID gets $1,000. Great, lots of people would rush to get BrightIDs. If everyone that had a BrightID got free admission to a soccer match, great. Lots of people would go get it. And we think that there's adequate things in the world that will use BrightID as its gate, that there will be ample incentive in the long run that everyone will get it without being incentivized by BrightID, because BrightID itself doesn't have resources to incentivize people. The example, so we dreamed that other people would create those things saying, hey, here's this great identity layer you can use that you didn't have before. Here it is now, gate behind it. And we hoped that someone in the world would do that. They haven't done that fast enough. So folks internally to our community have started trying to build those things. The example that we're really excited about now is called Unitap. Have you had a chance to visit Unitap yet?
Yes. I also joined the Discord of Unitap.
Awesome. So Unitap at this point has one very simple offering where it gives out tiny amounts of crypto gas as an assistance, a little tool for people in need. It's not worth a lot of money, but it could save someone a lot of time and aggravation. It can give them privacy. There's a bunch of nice reasons to use it. It's like it's like you need 1 penny worth of this resource, and the transactions on a lot of these networks are very, very inexpensive, but it's a non-zero cost. So if you literally have nothing, then
you can do anything.
So great. Like if we can give someone a penny and then suddenly they can be a real user of a network, that's great for like everyone. It's good for the network. It's good for the people. And it's like if someone asked you, hey, can I have 25 cents for a parking meter? It's very easy to give them that like thing that solves their problem.
Yes.
But that's micro. What we dream for Unitap can be though is bigger. So imagine you could go there and every week claim a bunch of things of value. And that could be money, it could be crypto coupons. Imagine if one of the things you could do is just get a token redeemable for a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
Now, imagine you were a pizza shop and you just want people to come in and try your pizza. You could say, hey, anyone in the world can claim 1 pizza token and come in and get 1 free slice of pizza at my pizza shop. I imagine many pizza shops would gladly give out 1 slice to have someone come in the door and try them out.
Yeah.
Now, you can't just keep giving a slice every day to the same person. That's not a good business. But 1 per person in the at all that comes, that's great. So now the person got good value. They got a slice of pizza. The pizza shop was perfectly happy to do it. Like it was to their own good to do that. They are happy to give that discount for the chance that, hey, now they had someone come in, try their pizza. Some people will think it's yummy and come back and become a regular customer. Marketing expense. But what was essential, the thing that didn't exist before now, was that gating mechanism that made sure each person only got to do it once. And each pizza shop is not gonna come up with this on their own. That's not a reasonable expectation. But imagine there's this broad system where this exists, and then there's people that aggregate it, and eventually there's a company that goes out and convinces places, oh, you should market this way. Who knows? But we just want to show the world examples of what you can do once you have this unique personhood without taking anything from that person.
Philip, I love that you brought up that example, because I think that it's like a general, it's a thing about the state of the economy right now, where people don't have enough income, and one of the effects is that companies end up spending more and more money on marketing, and it's like consumer demand and money in people's hands actually becomes very, very scarce. And when something is scarce, then it becomes very expensive. And so that a large part of the economy becomes geared towards, if you are somehow very clever at just squeezing that last drop of, scarce spending money out of the consumer, that's like worth a lot in the economy. That's like where all the resources go to. And it's so I love that example. I love that you said that.
Nice. When you were saying that, it reminded me of this. Years ago, this town had started this babysitting coupon system where parents would babysit for each other's kids, and everyone got like 3 of these little coupons. The idea was, that you could trade it kind of like money. I babysit for your kids and you give me one, and then someone else I could give it to. It moved around, and people weren't really using these because they were scarce, and they all wanted to like hoard them because, oh, I might want to use it later. So they significantly increased the supply of these things, and then suddenly everyone was babysitting for each other, and everyone was better off because they were all actively participating in the market instead of sitting there by themselves worrying that they'd run out.
Yeah.
So I think if we can figure out how to share better in the world, and work collaboratively, the whole systems can work better, and that's much more likely if you can distinguish real people.
Yeah. That's such a great example. And the thing is that's so interesting is that when people are not using those coupons, they are, as a result, they're sort of sitting there idle a little bit. And
Totally.
that's the other part of the economy, is that from 1970 to now, for the last 40 to 50 years, wages at the bottom have been completely stagnant, even as the economy has grown. And it's a little bit like those people who are not able to babysit because nobody is using their babysitting coupons. That again, when people don't have enough income, it actually becomes harder to earn income.
Right.
Because other people don't have the right or to access your labor, so your labor actually becomes worth less,
Right.
relatively speaking. And it's a catch-22. It's a
Nobody
positive
will hire
feedback
me
loop.
because I won't hire anyone else.
Yeah, because I don't have money.
Right.
And because I can't earn money. So yeah, it's a very interesting situation. Yeah.
When we started BrightID back in 2018, we very much did it with the dream and the reasoning that in order to solve these big problems that we saw with sort of how resource allocation worked in the world, required this basic thing of being able to prove that you exist, and whatever benefits should be assigned to you, it can be.
Yeah.
So anyways, we are way off the normal simple stuff into the deeper stuff. I was listening to a Bankless podcast with Balaji talking about his crazy predictions that the entire U.S. dominated financial system is going to fall apart in the next 90 days. So I've got that sort of
Right.
I don't see how that's going to happen, but he's a smart dude, and he makes some compelling points. So gosh, I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't understand why he would go and say that so loudly in so many places if this really smart, different kind of thinker didn't truly believe it. It's just kind of wild. So we may, if Balaji's right again, then we may be in for unbelievable disruption coming. So we'll see.
Mm.
What do we what do we trust in anymore? You know, in BrightID, and even more so, more clearly in Aura, what you believe is all tracked out. You can follow it all. It makes sense. And if you stop believing it, there are alternatives already next door that you can move to. Now our identities are controlled by governments and by huge technology companies, right? There, you know, you have your citizenship identity, and you have like your Facebook or your Apple or your Google identity controlled by those companies, but you don't have your identity that's under your control. It's either controlled by a mega tech corporation or by a government. Anyway, apparently Adam is very busy with his kids, so usually he would be chiming in with me and keeping this going. So Eddie, what brings you here today?
I actually heard good things about you guys from Kaz, the UBI guy.
Oh, nice.
And so I happened to see something on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I'll drop by. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, he's been showing up in a number of our forums. UBI is how we got going on this whole thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fascinating. I really love those metaphors that you brought up with. You know, I'm convinced that that UBI could be absolutely viable, even at a relatively small scale. You know, I think that if you get together about 5 or 10 people who participate in a community, sort of with like, you know, quote unquote babysitting, like you said, and you issue a small UBI based on, you know, what people sort of can help each other with. And that might be, you know, that might be something like entrepreneurial. That might be sort of like, you know, different people have their different projects and they need help with different aspects, and they sort of help each other. So it's sort of like a time bank with a small UBI. That's absolutely sustainable. And I have I've worked out sort of an algorithm for how you would manage the money supply of that system. So it's, yeah, I'm convinced you can absolutely do that. And I'm sort of you know, slowly, it's a bit of a side project, but I'm slowly working on making that a reality with like friends and people I know. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Early on, we used to have talks about things like that a lot. I'm imagining like how could a time banking like system work? How could these UBI currency systems work? And one of the things we figured out was like, wow, it's really hard. We're not likely to figure out the right model. I certainly don't have the experience, but all of them need a system to know who should get it. And when we say UBI, we really stress the universal. We dream of this being accessible to literally everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's right. If you were literally trying to give it to 10 people, you know, in your town, well, it's really easy to count to 10 and do those people. But if you're trying to do this digitally and across the world in a way, in a manner that is administratively extremely efficient with these wonderful new sort of blockchain tools that we have.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
how do you just know digitally, okay, hey, cool, I've got this new and valuable thing that I can give to everyone, and they all want, they're all clamoring for it. And everyone's supposed to get one. Okay, well, how do I just know that everyone's getting one?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the wonderful thing about sort of a UBI economy like that is that there would be economies of scale to it. So 10 people is just like the people that I think I could get, like maybe 5 or 10 people. But the thing is that if you can make that community sort of active, like they're actively, trading with each other, um, it can grow. And the more it grows, the more trade you get, and the more trade you get, the more the UBI can be. And it's a little bit like you were talking about, sort of like giving away those free pizzas. It becomes this value proposition where it's like, why do you want to join this economy? Well, you get like $20 a month. Would you like to have $20 a month? It's sort of a really nice proposition. I would think um, that would really gain momentum as it grew.
Yeah, I love talking about the UBI economy. I think that's a great way to put it. That's how I see it too. When Philip and I were first getting into this, I think we both imagined that there'd be like one token to rule them all, that would be like the UBI token that everybody got. And now I've changed my vision just based on just what I've seen and the developments that I've seen, that now I think that our UBI is going to come from many different sources in many different forms, and it's going to come together and add up to be a UBI. And so it's going to be some pizza tokens and some babysitting tokens and some rent tokens and some, Apple Orchard governance tokens, and who knows all the different tokens that are going to be available. And we're just going to, pick the ones that are the most meaningful to us, and that will comprise our UBI. So and I definitely think of it as an economy. And when it's a kind of dividends with choice, so you can't take all 10,000 tokens that are available. You only get to pick 5 or 10 or whatever the magic number is. Then your UBI kind of becomes tailored to you. And not only that, but it signals, it really is an economy. It's kind of like an alternative to a marketplace, but it achieves the same thing as a marketplace, which is to signal to the producers like, hey, we need more pizza. Like pizza tokens are always the first ones to go. Somebody out there needs to make more pizza so that we can have more pizza tokens. And so, yeah, I mean, it becomes this awesome UBI economy.
Yeah. Everyone loves pizza.
Yeah, I think there's definitely room for some pizza tokens. That was one of my favorite stop offs at ETH Denver. They had a bunch of side events, and I went to Pizza Dow's pizza party, and it was fun. Jonathan Mann was singing live, and it was just free pizza and free beer. And why? Because this community got together and decided they wanted to have a pizza party. So there you go.
Free pizza and beer is awesome.
Yeah. So that's what we want. Like our world has a lot to share. And as long as we have a way to, so when you have an in-person pizza party, it's you know as long as you don't see someone coming in with taking boxes out to their truck or something like that.
It's not even a coming in problem. As long as you don't see them leaving with too much pizza.
Yeah, as long as you don't see someone like carrying boxes out and
take our pizza to your party.
Yeah, as long as everybody comes and has a couple slices of pizza and a beer, then everything works out. And
don't actively try to mess up the commons. Don't have way too much pizza and don't have way too much beer. Don't take it away from the commons. And so that's kind of like the key point here is that all these commons exist, but hoarding is kind of the behavior that we want to discourage. Like we don't want someone
having a warehouse of like all the free pizza that they've collected that they then like try to hoard for some reason. So
Yes,
yeah,
that was one of the questions when I also thought, because someone can like join a group, a big group of people, and then make him work for him and get them verified, and yes, maybe farming people identities for some
right,
benefit.
yes, yeah, and I think part of the remedy for that is education. When people don't understand what their UBI is worth, then they're willing to perhaps sell it for much less than what it's actually worth. And so we need to educate people, and that's part of why Unitap has something called LearnTap that teaches people how to use Unitap. So this is something that we're actively building, but it's really important because we have a very high bounce rate at Unitap right now. Because people show up, they're like, I don't understand wallets. I don't like, I've never used MetaMask. This is really complicated. What is BrightID? I don't know if I really should install this. And then they just leave. And so I don't know the exact number, but let's say 95% bounce rate, because people, they hear from someone or somewhere like, hey, there's free stuff you can get here. But then they get there and they get confused and they don't understand what the free stuff is or how they can use it, or so they just leave. So we need LearnTap to help people understand this is how you do it. This is what a token is. Press this button, come over to Token Tap and collect some tokens. And this is lesson number 1, is come and get some free tokens from Token Tap, and they'll show up in your browser, and you don't need to know what a wallet is. You can just see, you click the button and Token Tap, and now you have a balance. And then maybe lesson 2 is, well, here's something you can spend your token on. And maybe it's just something silly at first. Maybe it's like you buy a hat for your avatar or something like that. But here's how you successfully used your token that you got. And then you just go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you start to learn, well, if you want to keep your token safe, then maybe you need something like a seed phrase or a BrightID. And so now we teach people how to keep the stuff that they're collecting safe. We teach them about networks that have gas tokens and why you might need gas tokens. And so they just go deeper and deeper and deeper. But LearnTap is going to be essential. And one of the things that people need to come away with from LearnTap is, my BrightID is valuable. And I don't want to sell it to someone. I don't want to rent it to someone. This BrightID is for me. And if you have social recovery and you have Aura verification, you can actually scam the scammers. So if someone's trying to buy your BrightID from them, and you have social recovery set up, you can scam the scammer, and you can say, oh, sure, I'll sell you my BrightID for $100. And then you do social recovery right after.
And so, then you get it back.
Yeah, and then you get it back.
That's great.
So,
That's
so
genius.
as long as people are educated and they understand. If people are not educated, they'll be like, oh man, I had a BrightID once and I sold it. And but I think in the future, Aura will help with that, because Aura verification, you basically need someone who understands how BrightID works to get you verified, and they will help you. And if you go back to that person afterwards and you say, hey, I messed up, I sold my BrightID, or even better, you go to them and say, hey, someone's trying to buy my BrightID, what should I do? And then maybe you can work together to scam the scammer. But that's the nice thing about Aura verification, is you have someone who knows a lot that's kind of on your team and helping you to get verified, and helping to make sure that you stay verified, and helping you to do whatever you need to do to use BrightID properly. So I think Aura is definitely going to be a key. And that's why we don't need everybody to use Aura, but we need a few people like Piero, who kind of like go deeper than the average user, and will eventually be the type of person that's bringing in their friends and helping them to get verified and is an Aura player. So that's, we need a few of those people sprinkled around the earth, getting everybody verified.
Great. And how can I like dig deeper in the Aura community, or give some hands, or maybe teach others, or
yeah, great question. So the very first thing that you can do, so what we've done recently is we've looked at how people are using Aura. Aura is still in beta. We've looked at how people are using Aura, and we're making some changes based on how we've seen people use Aura. Aura is too hard right now. So I don't expect you to try it out and be able to get a bunch of people verified and figure out how everything works, how energy works, and how rating people works. So we're making all of that easier, and we're making it so that it's more self-explanatory in the Aura app itself, and we're dividing things into roles, kind of stages. So a BrightID user is like stage 0. You're not even an Aura player. An Aura player helped you get verified. You just found an Aura player. You've never touched Aura, and you probably never will. That's just, 99% of people are just BrightID users. They go to Unitap, they collect their stuff. They don't go deeper. They don't get into the whole process and game of verifying people.
They got one Aura player to vouch for them in an acceptable manner, and that's their entire. That's all they need to know.
That's all they need to know. And then your next level up. So this is about where I think you're at right now, Piero. Your next level up is you're like, hey, this was pretty cool. This BrightID thing was kind of interesting. Let me see what else I can do with it. And you notice that you can get other people to join, and then you can make connections with them. And then your next kind of beginning step with Aura would be to take the connections that you've made and then go in Aura. And actually, let me share my screen so I can show you how this works. I'm going to need a co-host permission to do that. Okay. So let me go and look at some of my connections. Okay. Okay, great. I'm the co-host now. So this is what Aura looks like. And in Aura, I've got some people that I've been rating, and this is the rating that I've been giving them. This is one of the things that we're going to make a lot more clear, because when I rate someone, I think that's the rating I gave him. Yeah, okay, so I gave him a 4. So it's basically what I'm saying is this account, this BrightID account that I'm looking at now, is this the account that should be Aura verified? Or is there some chance that Jonathan Mann has 3 other accounts? Maybe this is an account that he's not using anymore. So that's what that's really the question that I'm trying to ask here. And then there's a scale.
Hold on, think of Jonathan Mann, the true human. He's only allowed to have 1 Aura verified account. He could have 7 BrightID accounts. Like, anyone can go create as many BrightID accounts. There's nothing that stops you from that.
Right.
What the Aura question is asking is, this singular human being, is this the account that should have Aura? Because they only get 1.
They only get 1 Aura verified account. Is this the one that should be verified? That's the question that I'm answering. And actually in the new UI, it makes it very clear that that's the question. I won't show the new UI, but the new UI is better. It actually specifically asks that question, and then you answer yes or no. In this one, it's a slider from like -4 to 4. In the next version, it's a question. That question that I just asked, is this the one that should be, is this the account for Jonathan Mann that should be Aura verified? Yes or no? And then you give it a confidence level. and the confidence, it's very it's low confidence all the way up to very confident. So for me, I'm very confident that this is the account that he's using. This is the one that should be Aura verified. And what Aura is trying to do is it's trying to show me some evidence here, so that I'm not just going by feels, like, oh, this feels good. I have evidence right here. I can see that he's had his account for 2 years. He last made a connection 5 months ago. He has social recovery.
That's your last connection with him. Really? Well,
Oh,
really,
is that what that is?
Yeah, that's your,
Are you sure
your
about
last
that?
connection with him.
Are you sure about that?
Uh,
I think
sure,
that that's,
no. Hold on, let me.
I
I will
think
tell you-
that that's,
I will-
I mean, that's what I want to see, and that's what I thought I was seeing. That's something we should look into, because that would be a more important piece of information. So yes, we should look into that and see. But that's what I want to see, is when was his last activity? When did he last make a connection? I mean, it's sort of important when I last connected with him, but I want to see when he last made a connection to anybody. Is he still using this account? Because if I see he hasn't made a connection to anyone in a long time, maybe he doesn't have access to this account anymore. But anyways, he has social recovery set up. That's a really good sign, because that means that there's a better chance that he is in control of this account. He hasn't lost access. Then I can look at all our mutual connections, and I can see these are all people that I've connected to that he also has connected to. So there's this huge list of people that I know that have connected to him. And so I weigh all this evidence, and I say, and also a bunch of people have set him as recovery connections. So these aren't just like casual acquaintances. These are people that know him well, that I know well. And so I look at this big list and I'm like, this has got to be the real account. Like, if he has another account, it's not going to have this weight of social proof behind it. So this is the real one. This is the right one. So I put high confidence on this one. And basically there's no gap. So if I want to give the maximum score, what I'm looking for is there any chance that he has like some secondary group of friends or whatever that are also Aura players that are going to, and not all these people are Aura players, by the way, most of them aren't, but does he have some secondary group of friends, some of whom are Aura players, that is also going to get him verified? And if the answer to that is no, then I'm sure that he this is the right account. So that's what I do. So the basic step one is go through your BrightID connections that you've made and do that process. You look through and you just you rate them on that account. Is that the real account for them? And for a lot of Aura players, that's it. You've already done a valuable service by doing that. You've rated your friends, and now the Aura graph knows that these are real people. These are the real accounts. And so that's step one. So that would be the first thing you should do.
And they don't need to
We can help you
be
with
verified in BrightID, or they have to be.
what you
All
need.
they need to be is connected to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
great.
they just need to be connected to you, and then you can come and rate them.
But I need to be verified in Aura first.
So what you need to do this is you need energy. So just like a regular
Hold on.
BrightID,
In order for it to matter, you need energy.
right?
But you
So
can actually
start
do the
doing this
task.
right away. But you may notice that your friends don't get an Aura verification. So anyone can do this. And if you look at the Aura graph, lots of people have been doing this. But one of the steps that we haven't explained well in the app, and this is one of the improvements that we're making, is that you need energy for it to count. And what do I mean by energy? So energy is another thing. So for someone who is just starting out with Aura and just rating their friends, the only thing you need to know about energy is you need to get another Aura player to be your trainer. And so that's one of the next roles. So there's the basic Aura player, and a lot of Aura players just stop at being a player, and that's fine. But then there's the trainer, and the trainer makes it so that your Aura ratings count. And by what they do is they give you energy. So they give you as much, and basically what energy is saying how good of an Aura player are you. And so if your trainer thinks you're doing a good job,
reputation.
yeah, exactly. So if your trainer thinks you're doing a good job and that you're rating people correctly, and that you're using Aura correctly, then they decide how much energy to give you based on that, and that determines if you're able to verify people. So basically all you need is a trainer, and then you can get going on Aura. And so this will be more clear in a future version of Aura. It'll show the different roles. Everybody starts out with the player role. That's your first task. Everybody goes through and rates their connections, and then it'll be clear, this is your trainer, or you can have multiple trainers even. These are your trainers. These are the people that are giving you energy, that are allowing your ratings to count. And that's something that you'll be able to see. And then as you get even further along with Aura, you can make the choice. You can either say, okay, I've done my duty. I've gotten people verified. This is what I came to do. This is as far as I want to go with Aura, and that's fine. And probably most Aura players will do that. Some Aura players will say, well, as I was going through my connections and rating some of them, I saw some people in there that I think would be good Aura players. And I want them to take the next step with me and also become an Aura player. Then you can become their trainer. And so now you've kind of graduated to the next role, if you want to take it, to become a trainer. And then now you have energy to give out, and you get to evaluate how well other Aura players are doing. So there's that. And then there's an even further step, which is called a manager. And it's like this decentralized management system where everybody within Aura is kind of like, so managers have trainers underneath them, and all the other managers are rating all the other, using energy to rate all the other managers. And it's kind of like this decentralized system of deciding who gets to send energy around in Aura. So that's an even further step that you can take.
And how does this energy get created?
Okay, so let me go to the Aura graph, because I think it's easier to visualize this. So every energy team, because as you've probably noticed, it's got this team, player, trainer, manager. It's got this team metaphor going on. So every team has team captains, and those team captains are where the energy starts. So for our energy team, the team captains are Philip and I. We are the energy captains, and the energy starts with us. But an important concept in Aura is that you can't hoard energy, much like you shouldn't hoard UBI. You can't hoard energy. So I have to send it out, and I have to have people send it back to me. Otherwise, I don't even get energy, and I can't help verify people. So I have to develop some relationships of trust. So it starts out with me and Philip. We both trust each other. I send him some energy. He sends me some energy. Now we have this reciprocal relationship, and now we can both verify people in Aura. Now we decide who we want the trainers to be. And so we start picking some other people that we want to send energy to. And these blue lines represent people that we've sent energy to that are then helping to verify other people. So like I've sent some energy to Maddie, and he has actually, I'm going to close that panel because I don't want to. I just realized that I need to be careful who I click on here, because this is being recorded, and
You can
there's
put it in public. Just put it in
people
public.
like me and Maddie and Philip that are.
Adam, why don't you just put it in
Yep.
public mode? You don't have to worry about it.
Because I like seeing the
Like,
faces. Yeah, so I'm just not gonna click on many people. I'm only gonna click on people that are already like where their BrightID is already publicly known. Yeah, so like me and Philip and Matt.
And important to point out, so Adam can see pictures on here because those are his pictures.
Yeah. There's some
Uh,
notice there's some gray dots and different colored dots that don't have faces on them. Those are people that I don't know.
And you'll see like by my picture, so all those dots that are sort of to the left of my picture, those are all connections that I have. So if I were looking at this same view, I would see those filled in with faces, and then there'd be some faces that Adam has that I would be missing because they're actually mine. Another funny thing is, right, Adam has that particular picture of, our friend John, but I might have a different picture of that same person on my phone because when they connected to me, what they gave me was a different picture. There's not some central repository where this is. Everyone has what they have, and I can tell you my name is Captain Underpants, and that's fine because it's talking about me. And so in your version of BrightID, I'm not like my name and picture might be Captain Underpants. Adam refers to me as Philip Silva, and Ashraf refers to me as UBI promoter. All three of those are this particular human, but it doesn't matter what you guys call me, it's still me.
Yeah, and then this is what it looks like to an outside observer that hasn't made any connections. It just looks like this. You see a bunch of dots, and then to an app, all they know, they see even less than this. They just see, okay, this user in my app is one and only one of these people. They're not bringing multiple verified accounts. They're bringing one verified account. I don't know which one. They don't even know which dot it is. They just know that it's just one dot.
All they know is what color it is.
Right. That's right.
They're told if it's gold,
they know that
silver,
they know that they're getting a yellow dot coming to their app.
One of the yellow dots, right?
One of the yellow dots just showed up at their app. That's what they know. So they don't even know where it is in the graph.
Or a silver dot, having no idea which one it is, just a silver one.
Right.
But we tell them what we mean by silver is, and we don't know this mathematically yet or financially, but we're 97% sure that this person won't have more than one account on your system.
Right.
And
So
if we get a bronze dot, then we're only 95% sure. I don't know, we don't have sort of a numerical answer to that, but that's sort of what it can mean to them.
Yeah, so this is how the energy gets sent around, and then there's an energy leaderboard, and basically I would say right now this energy is talking about like who the best managers and trainers are, but in the future we want to have a player energy leaderboard. So that's something that we're working towards, is making these roles more distinct. It's like, okay, I'm working within the player role, and you can it's like wearing multiple hats. It's like, okay, now I'm putting on my player hat and I'm rating people. Now I'm putting on my trainer hat and I'm training people. Now I'm putting on my manager hat and I'm kind of looking at this whole thing and making sure that energy is flowing to the right places. And then there's leaderboards for each one. So you can be the top player in Aura that does the best job. Everybody thinks you're doing the best job of rating people and helping people get verified. You can be the top player, but maybe you won't be the top of the manager leaderboard. So this is probably like more of the manager leaderboard, but in the future, we also want to have the player leaderboard. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, which role or roles do you best fit into, and you can do any of those roles.
How many Aura accounts are in existence?
So let's see if we can say, it looks like we've got around, so 1,700. The vast majority are not verified. So if we zoom out, what we notice here is there's some regions where you can see the blue, you can see this stark difference where the energy kind of stops around here. And so right around the edges where the energy is last touching, people will be getting verified. But out here in these outer realms, these are communities that are growing up that are they've figured out that they need to connect to each other. So they're doing a great job making all these connections. What they haven't figured out yet is that they need a trainer. And because we've done a very poor job of explaining that, and the app doesn't explain it at all. So that's what we need to work on, is that is making this very distinct trainer role and making sure that people know once you've done this, you need to go get a trainer so that we can get all these people verified. Because I would guess that I mean, we don't know for sure. This could be just a weird Sybil attack that's done by one person or a handful of people doing this, or more likely it's real people that are meeting each other, making connections. They figured out that Aura is a new thing that they want to be able to do. And so they're using the Aura app to make connections with their existing, or I guess, rate their existing connections. That's really what they're doing, is they're taking their existing connections that they've connected to in BrightID and they're rating them. So some people have figured out, hey, Aura is something you can do. I figured out how to log in, figured out how to rate my connections. If that's as far as you get, you'll end up with something like this. You'll end up with a bunch of people rating their connections. Those connections that they've rated show up in here. So people have rated 1,728 connections in BrightID. But only, like 500 of those connections have been verified. So there's obviously that gap there where we need to do a better job of explaining, of breaking out, separating, and explaining the trainer role.
And with all of that said, right, when we do that, if you suddenly drop a few trainers in that region, it quickly can verify everybody there.
Yes.
Right, if those trainers walk in and they go, oh, look, there are a bunch of real people here and I believe what they're doing, very quickly, all of those people can be verified in the system. It just requires that someone that we trust goes in there and says, yeah, I believe this. As soon as they do that, as soon as they're sort of willing to kind of put their reputation on the line as an experienced person that knows how to play this game, as soon as they do that, it's all verified.
Yep.
So if they really were doing good work there, just like Piero, if you go through and you rate your connections, you don't have any energy yet, but if you rate your connections, and then you come back to me and you talk to me some more and you explain what you did, and then I send you energy, the moment I send you energy, suddenly you have it, you have the power, and all those readings that you already made that weren't doing anything, suddenly all do something, and suddenly your friends are verified because I trusted you and you trusted them, boom, they're in.
Yeah, and then maybe after that, Philip comes along and says, hey, Piero's the type of person that I would probably be a good trainer. He probably knows some people, or he's told me that he knows some people in his set of connections that would also be Aura players. So he should be able to train them. So and that's where the manager role comes in. It's like, let's choose who the trainers are. And that's kind of what the managers do. They choose who the other managers are and who the other trainers are, and they kind of flow this blue energy around this graph. That's what so all the managers are like crammed in this little region right now. Yeah, so that's kind of how it looks.
Yeah, it's great work.
Fascinating.
Very complex. That sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, so
I need to wrap this up.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Can
let's
we
wrap
just
it up.
go?
But I just want to leave people with the thought that we need to expand the explanation of Aura and improve the interface so that like these different roles and how it works is easy to do. We want it to be as simple as like a game or a guided quest where it's like, okay, welcome player. Here's your connections. Here's what you need to do. Here's the one question that you need to answer about each of your connections. And okay, you've done a good job with that. And then at some point there's like a way to navigate into the trainer role if that's what you want to do, or navigate into the manager role. But it should all be gamified and there should be achievements and a guided experience in the Aura app. So that's what we're working on.
Yes, I lived the experience like that, like going step by step through the BrightID app, getting new verifications and connecting apps and dApps, and getting the social proof and getting my friends, and now more into the Aura thing that is really nice. I have to congratulate you guys for the work you have done, and it's really interesting, and I hope this keeps growing.
Yeah, so do we. That's the big test, is this scalable in a social way? And so yeah, that's where we're at. We're trying to prove out, will this scale? So Phillips said that we need to wrap it up. So let's.
Or I do anyway. So
Yeah, I think it's good. We've gone over time. There'll be more of these. We do these every other week, same time, every other Thursday. Actually, I shouldn't say every other Thursday. It's the what is it? It's not. Oh, it is the fourth Thursday already. Wow, it's the fourth Thursday of every month. We do this call. And then sometimes we'll have a special guest on the second Thursday, a special guest or special topic. So check back in a month from now for another one of these.
Great.
And you're always welcome. We're around in the Discord, both Aura and BrightID. So definitely talk to us.
Okay. Thank you.